Dragonblade Authors Unplugged. We are totally unplugged this week. It's like herding cats. I'm so excited. We've got a big full week this week. We've got 5 authors releasing. Sherry Ewing has a book coming out, Only a Lion Will Do, because only a lion will do. But Sherry was not able to be with us this week, so I'll make sure I put her link in the comments so you guys can grab the book and we'll catch up with her on another time. But I am so glad to have Chasity Bowlin, Cerise DeLand, C.H. Admirand, and Anna St. Clair here. Ladies, thanks so much for taking the time to talk.
Thank you. Thank you.
So because we have a big full week and because I have precious little control over the situation, we're going to start at the beginning of the week and roll our way through. So the first book that released this week is The Duke's Rapier. And that's Colleen's book. And it is book 10 in The Duke's Guard. Tell us about this delicious hero, because yours are always so good.
I'll try to be quick because I'm in the middle. Oh, sorry.
You're okay. You froze, but
are you ready?
Yep.
I didn't mean to. Okay. Sorry. I will probably get lost because I'm in the middle of writing another story, and I already wrote book 12 and book 11, and then book 12 is next, and then I'm done for the year. So my brain is like, I want to say between mashed potatoes and Swiss cheese. It's somewhere in there. But anyway, Thomas O'Malley. And yes, if you have kids or grandkids, you remember the song Abraham DeLacy, Giuseppe Casey. If you've never seen the Aristocats, you have no idea what I'm talking about.
I do not know that song.
Thomas O'Malley, the Alley Cat.
Oh, from the Aristocats.
You have to go on YouTube and you can, and then you start dancing along.
Okay.
But anyway, so yes, my hero is a cat. Well, actually, not really, but. And the hero, 3 days that I was writing his story, because it looks like I froze. So if I lost you, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Sorry. You keep freezing on me.
Yeah, no, you're good. Just keep going. You're fine. We can hear you.
Fine. Okay.
I'll tell you if we can't.
Okay. So my hero was very angry with me because he was not the first man that the heroine met in the beginning of the story. He is not the first one to rescue her, but it's his irritating cousin Killian O'Gill who kind of gets involved in things. But O'Malley is he's on edge because he's like, it's not a coincidence that he's there. So we find out in the book really what he's doing there, and it all ties together. And there's a lot of villains that have been in this series. Well, with 16 books, I mean, some of them overlap, some of them don't. Some of them don't actually make it to be prosecuted, but anyway, that's a whole other story.
It's a different kind of justice.
The evil people don't always, different kind. But anyway, it's forced proximity as they rescue her and they get back to where they are supposed to be in Summerfield on Eden. And
now we lost her. Oh no.
Gray eyes and her spectacles and her freckles and her red hair. So anyway, I don't really know what else to say because I am so sorry, but I'm in the middle and I have 4 days left to write what I'm working on right now.
Okay.
Sorry.
And
it's not finished. And I had to restart it. This is the second time I've written this. But anyway, sorry.
No, I think it's good for readers to have a chance to see. Like it's labor, like it's writing a book is a lot of work. It's a lot of sitting, but it's a lot of work too. Yeah. And that mental exhaustion you get at the end of the day on the page is like, that's for reals. So.
Yeah.
We'll let you catch your breath, and we're going to go on and talk about Cerise's book, which is, I love the title for this, Lord Ramsay's Red-Headed Ruin. And it's book 2 in the Scarlet Affairs.
Yes, it is. And it's the companion, if you will, to book 1, where they search for the heroine of book 2. And they find her briefly. But I want to say I love this romantic suspense for quite a few reasons. One, it is intensely set. That's terrible grammar. In the specific events of Bonaparte's consulate. So we're in 1802, 1803, and we are going through the countryside of France, as Lord Ramsay does, looking for this missing woman, Amber Saint Antoine, who is a woman on the run from the deputy chief of police, Valancourt. And he becomes my arch villain throughout 16 books in this series. So I take something for every year, some significant event, and I build around it to explain it a little more. But I do want to say that the other reason I love this book is that it's intensely historical. It is wild romantic suspense. Someone said of the first book, Lord Ashley's Beautiful Alibi, that this is not your average ballroom romance. And indeed, excuse me, allergies. I have a frog in my throat. Someone said a reviewer said of the first book that this is not your average ballroom romance. No, it is not. She is not looking for a husband. He is not looking for an affair, nor a wife, nor does he need one. They both have jobs to do. Mm-hmm. And in the process, you get to go through France.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. The personal reason I love this book is that while it took me 4 extraordinarily long months to write this book, it was done while I was being diagnosed and surgically treated for breast cancer. And yet I adore this book, and I simply hope that everyone will give it a try, because it is a symbol indeed of what you can do, what you love, while you are doing something that you don't especially appreciate.
Something difficult.
Yeah.
But I love books that give us a chance to travel. I think one of the reasons that we read is that escapist kind of thing. And so if you're going to give me a chance to go to France, I am going to go to France with you. And I also love getting to read about history from a different perspective, because it feels like something I missed when I was growing up, because I didn't have history teachers that made things feel alive. And so if you're going to show me events in a different perspective, and I'm going to have like context to place them and things, it's like that's a whole different level of exploration.
There was a study that was done, I believe, in Florida high schools, and I do not remember the county, but it was in the 1990s, where they asked students, how they learned history best, and the majority of them said they read fiction. So that was in the 90s. I'm sure it's true today.
Yeah, because there's something about catching the relevance, like when you fall in love with a character, then you fall in love with their story, then you have a context to put the events in, and I think I love that, and I love how careful Dragonblade authors are with history. How respectful you all are of history, because it means I can trust things. That's a very good thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. So the next book that comes out this week is The Hellions Club. I love The Hellions Club. Mm-hmm. It's book 9 in The Hellions Club. It's The Lady Confesses, and it's Chasity Bowlin's book. Chasity, can you tell us about it?
So this book is a direct continuation from the previous book, A Dangerous Passion. And it starts out with everybody's favorite Bow Street runner, Edinger. And he's been the Hound's right-hand man through the last several books. But he was injured at the end of the Governess Diaries. And so now he's had to leave Bow Street behind, and he started his own private inquiry agency. And one of the first things that he has to do is rescue Honoria's sister, Hetty, who has been kidnapped. And as it happens when people are in close proximity, things occurred. And now Hetty is getting ready to have a baby that is not her husband's. And her husband has
Yowza.
been murdered. And somebody thinks she murdered him.
Oh.
And it's a lot. It's a lot.
That is a lot.
There's a lot happening in this book. So, but that's true for pretty much all of my books. I can't write just a straightforward boy meets girl romance. There always has to be some element of danger and mystery and intrigue. I do want to apologize to the people who love the Hellion Club so much, because there have been significant gaps in these books because life happens. I adopted a kid, then I got COVID, then I had a stroke. And since I've had a stroke, I've developed attention deficit disorder. So it's been a while, but hopefully things are back on track now. Medication is wonderful.
It is wonderful for many, many reasons. But no, I love the Hellions Club. I love the setup for the Hellions Club and everything about it. And I'm glad we're starting to get books again. That is a lovely thing. It's a delightful thing. So awesome. So the next book that comes out this week is The Baron's Return, and it's Anna St. Clair's book, and it's a Breaks of Mayhem. I love mayhem is good in almost any form. So can you tell us about this one?
And mayhem definitely exists in this book. It is actually second chance romance for two of the characters that came out of the Earl of Excess. Not, obviously not these people, but in the Earl of Excess, there was a gentleman who was paid by his best friend, or not even paid. He was asked by his best friend to find the man's son. The son had disappeared on the battlefield. They had never heard from him since, and it was the Battle of New Orleans. And so I had, when I wrote that book, it was kind of the, writing a Regency romance in the middle of the American colonies, and it was kind of a challenge, but I loved the book. And so I wanted to go back and bring some of the characters forward that were in there that were Regency characters. And so we have the Baron's Return. And in the Baron's Return, we have the gentleman I spoke of, the one that went to find his friend's son. He crossed the ocean, and when you cross an ocean into another hemisphere or another continent, you gain some of the good things and the bad things of that continent. And he got yellow fever, something that wasn't ever heard of in England. So he came down with it. He was nearly at death's door, and he saw a cabin with a light or whatever in his delirium, and knocked on the door, and this young widow answered the door. And like I said, she was a young widow. She was actually kind of ostracized. This was in the Boston area, the outskirts of Boston. And out there by herself, she takes him in because he's near death, and she'd lost her husband in the war already, or the battle of in Washington, D.C. So that's where he died. So she's there. She's trying to figure out how to make it on her own. And they kind of fall in love. They don't really declare themselves or anything like that, but he promises to come back for her, and then he doesn't. He gets lost in his college, he gets lost in his assignment. And when he goes back for her, she gives up. She's given up. And so she has taken the last bit of money that she has, and she's bought a passage back to England, because the only family she has is her brother, who was in the Navy, but she hasn't seen him in years. And the family that she married in was she's a lady by right in England, but she's not able to use that because they disavowed her. Because she wasn't good enough for their son. They won't have anything to do with her. So she's kind of lost, and she's alone. She's broke as she can be, and goes to the office where her, the naval office, and gets a note that her brother had left for her and said, if you come here looking for me, these are my friends, go find them. And so she did, and one of them, and they had a job for her as a companion to one of them's mother, and so, or aunt. And so anyway, I'm like you. I have written so many in the last while. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to cross over all these plot lines. It's crazy. And I've got two that are on deadline right now. One for Dragonblade, the anthology, which I'm starting today. I will get it done. But anyway, she she becomes companion to this woman who, think Violet on Downton Abbey, because that's kind of who I channeled when I wrote this person's personality. She's very out there, and it was so much fun with her. But this whole romantic suspense, he comes back, he makes his way back to England, and he's on an assignment, a different kind of assignment. He comes home and he finds that his aunt is the same woman who has employed this woman
Yes.
as her companion.
I was hoping, but I was not knowing.
Yes, and so they find this out at a party. And, there's just this, the worst place in the world to find out that the man that you love is, right across, and you can't say anything. You're supposed to be a widow, and very, very pious and everything, because she's a companion, so she can't have any kind of outrageous behavior like, oh my God, and run and jump on him or anything like that. She's, no warm hellos like that. But this triggers a cascade of things that happen. And if I get any further into the book, I'm going to be telling the story, so I'm not going to do that. But it is a romantic suspense, and I will say that there are sweet orphans involved.
Oh,
and
fun.
If you read any of my books, you know that there's always a secondary hero that is either an animal or a child. Usually it's an animal, and there is a puppy in this one. That helps. So anyway, that's the Baron's Return. And I will mention that, again, it came from the Earl of Excess, and the whole genesis for the series came out of Lion's Prey, which was one of the Lion's Den books.
We love us some Lion's Den books.
I love the Lion's Den.
Mm.
So awesome. Well, a bunch of you have talked about challenges when you're writing. So we have a few minutes left, and I thought maybe it might be, rather than, because I think everybody kind of feels world weary sometimes, and I think readers can relate to that too. I wondered if you found a way to give yourself grace when you're moving through things, if you found a way to, because I think sometimes I stop myself and I always tell my kids, talk to yourself the way you would talk to someone you love, because I don't think we're particularly good at that. I think we're very good at beating ourselves up and carrying extra weight and feeling the weight of deadlines and feeling the weight of disappointment and stuff. And so I wondered if you found a way to be kind to yourself, to give yourself some grace, to figure out how to move through challenges and still make.
No, maybe
It's
not.
hard, Chasity. It's really hard.
This was the first time. This has been the first year that I've ever had to ask for an extension on any, because last year I struggled with for 2 year and a half, I struggled with a major illness, and got past that, and didn't have any. I had 6 books, and I didn't miss a single deadline. I wrote through every single bit of it, despite radiation and all that kind of silly stuff. And then this year, my mother became very ill and began to spiral, and that just, I couldn't. It's still going on somewhat, but I'm kind of on track now, and I've figured out a way to cope with that and deal, the best I can. But the best thing I know is just to finally, realize that we are human, and just to ask for help, and for me, help is time.
Yeah. One thing that I have found is very true for me, that I am always focused on writing the best book I can get out of myself. And as long as I can edit the page blank or full, I know that I have a good chance at that. And sometimes, rarely, you let go of a book and you say, that needed something. I don't know what it was. So thank God for edits and revisions. Yeah, I have learned over the years, and I've been at this business for 40 years now. Get up and walk away, go take a walk, go for a swim, go have lunch with your author friends, and find the next best set of words to keep you on track and keep you going.
That makes sense.
And forgive yourself. Let yourself not be perfect. That was the
Yeah.
hardest thing to, oh my God, miss a deadline. What in the world am I thinking? You know, and I'm going,
Yes.
okay, fine. I'm human. So
Yeah.
I can't, some things are beyond my control. When you can't,
Right.
when you look at a page and nothing comes out, that's when you know that you have to ask.
That's been the biggest struggle for me, is that, I mean, my brain is different. It works differently now than it has in years past. And I always heard my characters. They talked to me, everything played out in my mind like I was watching a movie. And I would just try to type fast enough to keep up with it all. And that stopped. And it stopped because I was having to give myself so many instructions on what to do just to complete simple tasks that I couldn't hear my characters anymore. And I've been really hard on myself because physically I recovered from the stroke completely. There are no deficits physically. So, and because there's no physical obvious reminders, you tend to forget that it's basically a brain injury and you expect from yourself the same thing that you could do years before. And that's been difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we're so hard. And I think readers relate to it because so many of our readers are women. Most of our readers are women. And so I know they carry all the weight of dealing with family things and being the caretakers of, you know, whether they have children or not, of the people around them, because that's what we tend to do as women. But that being able to figure out a way to be easy on yourself, I think is something that we could all do a little bit better with. Yeah. What about you, Colleen? With your Swiss cheese mashed potato brain?
Well, it's, you know, it's some days are good and some days are bad because it's going on 4 years since I lost my husband. So right before Thanksgiving, so you know, life is life. And I've only been in the ER twice with my heart this year, so I'm crossing my fingers that that's under control. So
2 times is enough. We don't have to do 3. 2 times is enough.
No third's a charm thing here. Okay.
No.
2 times is enough.
I hate that chemically restarting your heart thing. I don't like that. The injection and then but
Let's not
still he broke
not
it.
do it if we can avoid it.
He broke it.
Yeah.
So there's no fixing it, but
yeah. And I think that
Just keep
for
going.
romance novelists, that's particularly hard because you know you're putting yourself in it over and over and over again. That falling in love, that finding the person, that bringing the emotion onto the page, and maybe that's what's hard about going through challenges while you're writing, because I think when you're going through challenges, you have to do a certain amount of walling yourself off so you can get through your day. You know, you need barriers. And as a writer, you can't have barriers because you can't bring the characters onto the page if you have walls that are stopping you from feeling all the things that they're feeling. So it's a lot.
And then they can't argue with you and say, "Don't like that name. Why do you have me here?"
Yeah.
Here when I'm telling when Killian showed up first.
Yeah. I was supposed to be first. Why am I not? No. I did love what you said, Cerise, about changing your situation, you know, like about going out for lunch or going for a walk or going for a swim or doing some tangible thing to move yourself from the space you're at. I'm wondering if any of you have found routines or things that help, like exercising. I know Anna, that you work out and exercise as part of your daily routine. Is there something you found that kind of helps ground you, helps you figure out this is how I'm going to start my day?
Yeah, I have. I go for a walk and I try to walk as far as I can. And then as far as other exercises, I've tried Pilates, and I liked Pilates, but I don't like that rack that people are doing right now. I tried that out.
It does seem a little bit like torture.
I'm like hating it. I've just got to get through it now. And since I finished paying for this last month, I'm quitting it. And I barely ever quit something, but I've gone back to my kettlebell. For some reason, when I'm in, throwing that kettlebell, it just makes me feel so much better. And it's a hard exercise, and I was thinking yesterday when I got through it, I thought, why do I like this one? It's so masochistic and just, and I'm sweating like a pig. And I'm like, that's what I like. I like, because it's like something's purging out of my body.
Mhm.
It's not.
Yeah, that part makes perfect
it's
sense.
not incremental torture like the Pilates machine is, which I feel like I'm on the rack. I honestly do. I'm like, and I'm looking around the room at these women and they're all smiling and I'm like gritting my teeth and I can't stand it. Anyway, that's how I've done it. But yes.
I was always kind of curious about that, but now I can like not be curious anymore because
it don't take some people love it. My daughter likes it. I bought her one for Christmas, and so I'm like years ago, and I thought, yeah, I'll try it out. No, I won't be working out with her with that thing.
I'm working out with a personal trainer who basically tortures me, and I pay him for that. So
there you go.
But like sometimes you need somebody to make sure that you do it too. Like
accountability is a big part of it because you can always find something to do other than go to the gym. Always.
Well, my accountability is this medicine that I have to take every day to keep this thing from coming back. And so and that does terrible things to your body, and so exercise is the one thing that kind of holds my body back into check. So that's my motivation, and it's kind of a driver.
Well, I turned 50 this year, and I'm trying desperately to keep up with almost 4-year-old every day.
Oh,
so I needed an energy boost from somewhere, some way, just like God give me strength to deal with another tantrum today.
I've got grandchildren. I don't know how you're doing it. You look 30 though, Chastity, if that's any consolation. You do look
there's a lot of Botox in this forehead. There's about to be some more.
I need to go get some of that. Just line myself up for that. Having 2 grandchildren that are so energetic. I swear one cannot keep her, she can't stay focused on anything. And she's like, okay, I'm ready to play this now. I'm ready to play this now. And I'm like, how did I do this?
We discovered that Nathaniel is super sensitive to red dye. Like the red dye 40. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like if he eats anything with that, his behavior is just all over the place. So, and I'm not like the crunchy granola mom. I'm not like if he wants a donut, he can have a donut. It just can't have red icing on it.
Well, it's good that you figured it out. It's in everything.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it in everything?
It's in lots of things.
Is it in chocolate and stuff? Don't
it
tell
depends.
Me it's
like if it's M&Ms, yes.
Yeah.
Are M&Ms your favorite, Anna?
I love M&Ms, but I like M&M peanuts. I'm not really into it. And they got this new peanut butter M&Ms. I'm like, oh, they might as well stick cream cheese in there. No.
Yeah. I'm a purist when it comes to M&Ms. Plain chocolate or peanut. That's it. I don't need pretzels. I don't need caramel.
There you are. I don't like the pretzel ones. I've tried them.
I can't eat the blue M&Ms.
Really?
It's not original. I look at the blue and I'm like, but my grandsons are like, I'll take those.
Oh, I can have the blue.
They don't. They're just too,
I can have all of them.
It's funny when you think of the Wedding Planner movie. With Jennifer Lopez, where he only eats the brown ones because chocolate is brown.
Yes.
And I love that. I love that device as a storytelling device. Because he only eats brown ones to chocolate are brown, and then when she's sitting at the movies by herself, throwing the M&Ms behind her that are not brown ones, and hits him with them when he's coming back. It's like yes, like M&Ms have a place in this story. They're doing some work.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. I know it feels like we're all a little bit low energy, but the stories are high energy, and I appreciate the work that you do to leave it all on the page, because I know it's not easy, and we love our Dragonblade authors, and we love our Dragonblade books, and I love that you give us stories that take us out of our heads and give us a chance to escape and experience new places and new things and there's a history that we didn't know before. So thank you so much for all of that.
Thank you.
And for taking the time. I'm going to mention, Hannah said about the anthology, Wraith Before Midnight comes out next month. It's spooky season.
Oh, that's right.
It's spooky season in days, people.
Done and turned in. I said mine's done and turned in.
Woohoo!
I'm getting ready to start working on my thing.
So you want to grab it because it's a super good deal, and you can read all your spooky stories in spooky season. So
Yeah.
get it while you get the chance. I'll make sure I put the links to all the books so you can grab them if you haven't gotten them. Dragonblade books are their very best deal on pre-order and release, so you want to grab them right away. If you don't, because life gets in the way sometimes, you can always read in Kindle Unlimited. Ladies, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you.